Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the March 28th, 2020 Vinyl Treasure Show. It's the last Saturday of the month. That means it's my all 60s edition, so stick around for the next 2 hours or longer. Get away from all this virus craziness that has turned our life upside down. I got some cool 60s records out of my collection. Got to apologize, I am late. Had a rough week. I had a lot of work to do working from home. It's kind of crazy, and I didn't feel so well today. I've been taking my temperature. I don't have the flu. I don't think I do have the flu because it's never gone up. I don't have a sore throat. I sometimes get a headache, but I think it's allergies. Diane tells me it's allergies, but anyway, I'm here for the next 2 hours. Got some cool records. I cannot record on the Top Shelf Oldies recording mechanism. Usually I'm able to do that also as a backup to this YouTube video. So those of you that tune in on my website will not get that show. Unfortunately, you have to go to YouTube. But anyway, we opened up tonight from September 1965, a band out of Cleveland, Ohio. They're called the Rhythm Rebels. It's their only release. It came out on Carl Maduri's Sunburst record label, the Rhythm Rebels on Sunburst with Littlest Hobo. Well, enough of my babbling here. Let's start her off for some cool 60s 45s. We open up the vocal portion with a group from Jersey City, New Jersey. They're called the Jelly Beans. Now, you may know the Jelly Beans. They had 2 releases on the Redbird label, but this is their final release and their hardest to find on the Esky label, November 1965. The Jelly Beans on Esky. It's called You Don't Mean Me No Good. That's the final release for the Jelly Beans, November 1965. Came out on the Esky label. It's called You Don't Mean Me No Good. That's an in-demand 45. You can get that on the Painted On label, which I do not prefer. I like the other label, like that multicolor label. I have a post of that on my Facebook wall. You can check it out, John Galindo. You'll see the posts there. Posted some of the 45s I'll be featuring tonight, but I like to have it on the nice hard vinyl press. Johnny G here for the All 60s edition as we continue here. Up next, the singer-actor Bruce Scott I think it's Zahara. Zahara. IDES, a.k.a. Bruce Scott's his name. Had a few 45s in the mid-1960s. His first came out on the Mercury label. Then he did 2 for MGM. And here is his first, which he performed on the Shivery program, was one of those like Shivery out on the West Coast, like Shindig here on the that was televised here in the New York area. I think Shivery was televised out on the West Coast. But anyway, there is a clip on YouTube so you can see him singing this tune. It's from November 66. Give a listen to Bruce Scott on the MGM label. It's called So Much to Live For.
Smile at me, all at once I can see I got so much to live for, so much to live for. My lonely days are through. We're holding hands and my heart understands I've got so much to live for, so much to live for. Now that I have you, had come to an end. Thought that I would not love again, but you came into my life and then look what happened. Each time we kiss, I'm more certain of this. I've got so much to live for, so much to live for. Life is gonna be heaven now that you love me. Each time we kiss, I'm more certain of this. I've got so much to live for, so much to live for, so much to live for, so much to live for. Life is gonna be heaven now that you love me. I've got so much to live for, 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 so much to live for.
Excuse me, folks. That artist goes by the name of Bruce Scott. Bruce Scott on the MGM record label, November 1965. So much to live for. Yes, we do. We have so much to live for, to listen to all these cool 45s on a Saturday evening. Now, in 1968, he would marry actress Sandy Duncan. And I think they divorced sometime in the early 1970s. He was in a 1968 movie. It was called Hang 'em High. In 1978, he was also in the movie Every Which Way But Loose. But that is his first of 2 on the MGM record label. So much to live for as we continue here. And we head out to Los Angeles, California for this next group, as their first release came out on the Accent label back in 1964. They followed it up with this tune that initially came out on the Enith record label, Enith Records, which was subsequently picked up by Scepter Records, and then I think they had another 2 more releases. This one arranged by Gene Page. I'm featuring it on the original label, Enith Records. It features Lonzo Coleman on lead. We go back to October 1964. Give a listen to Dan and the Clean Cuts and their tune called One Love, Not Two.
Lover, I think it's time that we sat down and talked it over. Yes, I do. If you don't stop running round, I'm gonna have to put you down. I mean it. Yes, I do. So listen here, lover, I've got to tell you, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's gotta be one love, not two. Baby, baby, one love, not two. It's gotta be one but to you. Yes, you do. So listen here, lover, I've got to tell you, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's gotta be one love, not two. Baby, baby, one love, not two. It's gotta be one love, baby, me and you. Every time I call you on the phone, I hear you whispering, telling I'm not at home. Now, lover, I think it's time that we sit down and talk it over. Yes, I do. If you don't stop running round, I'm gonna have to put you down. I mean it. Yes, I do. So listen here, lover, I've got to tell you, you can't have your cake, yeah, eat it too. It's gotta be one love, not two. Baby, baby, one love, not two. It's gotta be one love, baby, me and you. Me and you. One love, not two. Just me.
October 1964 release. That's Dan and the Clean Cuts. Featured it on the first label, Enith Records. You collectors out there, you can get it on the Scepter label also. And the lead singer, Lonzo Coleman, he's on lead. The song is called One Love, Not Two. Up next, a gal that was the second white female signed to Berry Gordy Jr.'s Motown empire. The first, you know who the first was? Debbie Dean was the first. The second was a gal by the name of Chris Clark. She was 17 years old. She was a 6-foot platinum blonde from Santa Cruz, California. Now, here's her first of three that she did on the Motown subsidiary VIP label. This one written by Berry Gordy Jr., December 1965. Give a listen to Chris Clark on VIP. It's called Don't Be Too Long.
If you wanna go away, well, I'm gonna let you go. You say you're coming back, this I know. But baby, don't be too long, no, no. Don't be too long, no, no. Don't be too long away from me. Go on and do whatever you have to do. Just come back to me when you're through. But baby, don't be too long. I'm begging, don't be too long. I'm praying, don't be too long away from me. I don't mind waiting, no, no, as long as I'm waiting for you, boy. And I'll be honest with you, got to promise that you won't, I know that you won't find somebody new. I trust you, baby. Go on and do whatever you have to do. Just come back to me when you're through. But baby, don't be too long. I'm begging, don't be too long. I'm praying, don't be
That's Chris Clark there. She eventually ended up on the Motown label because she has got releases on the parent label Motown Records, but that's her first on VIP. Chris Clark, December 1965, Don't Be Too Long. Johnny G won't be too long, although I may be long. It depends how many tuned in later on in the evening. We got to get away from all this virus stuff. It's kind of odd that in my town, in Westchester County, we had in the beginning of the week, we had 17 in my town. This morning, there were 48 or 49 cases in my town. It's kind of weird. I went shopping on Thursday. I was kind of like, I had a tough time doing the shopping here for the household. I have elderly parents here in the house in their 80s, so I'm really worried about them. Barbara's also worried about her mom too in her 80s, so we have to be careful. Don't touch your face. That's the main thing as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and it's hard for me to take requests on my All 60s show, but I will find them from time to time. And here's one for Richard Fox. He requested this on the Volt label, as this song would be the group's biggest hit. Made it up to 93 on the Billboard charts, 90 on Cashbox. It was 11 on the Billboard R&B chart. Was a big #1 record on KDAY out of Los Angeles, California. It features John Gary Williams on lead. These are the Mad Lads from July 1965, going out to Rich on the Volt label. It's called You Don't Have to Shop Around.
I found the love that my heart has been longing for. I don't have to shop around, shop around, shop around anymore. And I found the love that my heart has been longing for. She'll never put me down, put me down, put me down anymore. No more late, please man, life for me. No more playing the field. I found my love in a sweet little girl, and I know this love is real. I found the love that my heart has been longing for. I don't have to shop around, shop around, shop around anymore. Don't have to shop around.
As by request for Rich, a wonderful tune there by the Mad Lads. The Mad Lads On the Volt label, John Gary Williams on lead, July 1965. You don't have to shop around, not when you're looking for original vinyl on a Saturday evening. Tune in to Top Shelf Oldies. Johnny G spinning original vinyl. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here. And we continue here. It's my all 60s show. This up next, this female singer would join the 3 Degrees in 1966, and she did lead on many of their 1970s releases on the Roulette label, and one of their major hits, if you know that hit from 1974, When Will I See You Again? You know that tune on the Philly International label? I bought that 45 back in 1974, but prior to all that, she had a solo career. Now, she was discovered by Richard Barrett. Richard Barrett, he was the lead of the 1950s group, the Valentines. Now, she had, her first release came out on the Landa label. Then she had 3 on Swan. This is her 3rd on Swan, and a tune written by Leon Huff and Richard Barrett. They also produced it. Let's give a listen to Sheila Ferguson. Sheila Ferguson from November 1965. It's on the Swan label. It's called Heartbroken Memories. Can't do that. Can't do that. Not on this great tune. There we go. Whoops. Johnny G gets caught all the time. That is Sheila Ferguson. Sheila Ferguson from November 1965 is on the Swan record label, Heartbroken Memories. I don't know if that's her hardest, but it's not a cheapie. I think her second one is the hardest. Goes for a mega bucks. The Northern Soul collectors like that. But she would later join the 3 Degrees in 1966, probably right after this release, after she finished up with the Swan label. But that's a cool tune as we continue here on the All 60s edition. Up next, a duo out of Los Angeles, California, Chuck Girard and Joe Kelly were their names. Actually, they recorded as Chuck and Joe. Previously, they were members of the Castells on the Decca label, and also I think the Hondells. I think they were members of the Hondells also. But it's the second of 2 they had on the Decca label. This one arranged and produced by Gary Usher. Let's go to November of 1965, same month and year as that Sheila Ferguson release. Give a listen to Chuck and Joe. Chuck and Joe on Decca. It's called I Wish You Didn't Treat Me So Well.
myself as a man of the world. I do a lot of things and I date a lot of girls, but I always seem to find my way back to you. I know that you'll forgive me and that you are always true. No matter how I try, there's always somebody new, and I fall in love again for a moment or two. Though you know how I am, you never seem to care, but your silent forgiving makes it so much harder to bear. I just wish you didn't treat me so well. How I wish you didn't treat me so well. Oh, you never complain, so I never explain. But I wish you didn't treat me so well. Maybe if one day you do to me the things I've done to you, well, it might change my point of view, and my conscience might set me free. I just wish you didn't treat me so well. How I wish you didn't treat me so well. Oh, you never complain, so I never explain. But I wish you didn't treat me so well. I wish you didn't treat me so well. I wish you didn't treat me so well. I wish you didn't treat me so well.
Duos here on the Vinyl Treasures All 60s edition. Chuck and Joe. Chuck Girard, Joe Kelly, that's their name, November 1965, the second of two on the Decca label. I wish you didn't treat me so well. I'm going to send that one out to my girlfriend Barbara Moreau as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, my closer on the last 60s show was by a group called The Illusions. They were out of Indianapolis, Indiana. It was a request for Mike Walbromsky, and he requested the side Maybe I May Be Wrong. But let's give a spin to the flip side before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. Now, this group, prior to becoming The Illusions, they recorded as The Reflections on the Tiger label in 1963. But this one's from March 64. The Illusions on Laurie. It's called In the Beginning.
Your heart
That group called The Illusions. The Illusions, March 1964. On the Laurie record label out of New York City. In the Beginning is the name of that one. We continue here for the All 60s edition. Now, this next singer was a member of the Shindogs. You know who the Shindogs were? They were the house band for the ABC TV show Shindig. And his name is Delaney Bramlett. Now, he had 3 releases on the GNP Crescendo label. Now, this is his first, and it was produced by Jackie DeShannon, and it's a cover tune. This one, of course, a big, big hit for Elvis Presley. But let's give a listen to Delaney Bramlett from September 1964 on the GNP Crescendo label, his rendition of the tune Heartbreak Hotel.
Well, since my baby left me, found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of the lonely street at the Heartbreak Hotel. Be so lonely, 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 I could die. Although it's always crowded, you still can find some room for broken-hearted lovers to cry there in the gloom. Be so lonely, 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 I could die.
Cover tunes here on the All 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there by Delaney Bramlett, the first of 3 on the GNP Crescendo record label. I collect that label. You know, that label goes all the way back to the 1950s. Gene Norman Presents. That's what GNP stands for. Anyway, September 1964, his rendition of Heartbreak Hotel. Now, he has others, I think, on the Independence label. Has a good tune on the Independence label. Forget what the name of it is. He also recorded with his wife, Bonnie, Delaney and Bonnie. And speaking of Elvis Presley, this next artist was an Elvis Presley sound-alike. He was born February 10th, 1943 in Chicago, Illinois. His first record came out in 1959 on the Scotty label, but his biggest hit was in 1961. It was called You Don't Know What You've Got Until You Lose It. And that was on George Goldner's Gone record label, and had other cool tunes on the Gone label. Every time I feature him on YouTube, I get in copyright jail for that for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think this one will get me in copyright jail anyway, but he recorded for a lot of different labels through the years. Now here's one on Lieber and Stoller's Redbird label, and it's one he wrote. This one from March of '66. Give a listen to Ral Donner. Ral Donner on Redbird. It's called Love Isn't Like That.
Love's always made up to be tender and fine. The way some people treat love, I think it's a crime. I guess they don't know the value of a heart, and I bet it can be when it all is torn apart. So don't ever tell me about love and all its charms, or the thrill of her arms. Love isn't like that. I had love, yes I had love till just yesterday. Now she's gone and taken all my happiness away. And now those black clouds are closing in. And man, I can't begin to tell you the kind of shape and all that I am in. So don't ever tell me how love can make you feel. Don't tell me that love is real. Love isn't like that. And I don't care about tomorrow. Oh, what tomorrow's gonna bring ya. To me, love's only brought sorrow, and I've lost everything. I don't know what my future is gonna bring. I'm much too sad, you to worry about a thing. And all I know is the darkness of today. And I bet it's been for me since you went away. So don't you ever tell me about love and all its charms, or the thrill of her arms. Love isn't like that. No, no, no. Love isn't like that. No, no, no. Love isn't like that. No, no, no. Love isn't like that.
As March 1966 for Mr. Ral Donner on the Redbird record label. Love Isn't Like That is the name of that one now. And unfortunately, he passed away. He died from lung cancer back in on April 6, 1984, unfortunately. But lots of cool records by Mr. Ral Donner as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And this next group, they're out of Raleigh, New York. And I really don't have much on this group, but it came out on the Bell record label, and they're called the Embers, and they're doing a cover of a Mamie Galore 1966 release that she did on St. Lawrence. And this one is from February of 1967. Actually, Jackie Gore is on lead. Let's give a listen to a group called the Embers. The Embers here on Bell, and their rendition of the tune, It Ain't Necessary.
Baby, you can have my love, but I can't buy you no diamonds. I can't tear down no mountains, throw my money in the fountains. I know it ain't necessary. It ain't necessary. It ain't necessary. It ain't necessary. All that I can do is good loving, that's true, and everything else, baby, it really ain't necessary. Baby, you can have my loving, but I can dress up in splendor. I can make the world surrender. Ain't gonna make me no big time spender. I know it ain't necessary. Ain't necessary. All that I can do is give you good loving, that's true. And everything else, baby, it really ain't necessary. No, no, no. Baby, you can have my loving, but don't you ever try and fool me. I'm willing to learn if you want to school me. That ain't necessary. Ain't necessary. Ain't necessary. Ain't necessary. All that I can do is give you good loving, that's true. But everything else, baby, it really ain't necessary. No, 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 no. Ain't necessary. It ain't necessary. No, 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 no.
A group called The Embers. The Embers from February 1967. I have it on that Painted On Bell label, which is styrene, and you know how much I hate styrene 45s, but that's a tune called It Ain't Necessary, featured Jackie Gore on lead. You know it is necessary for Johnny G to file back all his 60s 45s, because then it would be easier for me to take requests on the All 60s edition. That's why it's very difficult for me to take that. But I can feature some requests from time to time, as I have for Richard today. And I think Evan gave me one request that I will be getting to, Evan. So stick around as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, up next, an integrated group from Atlanta, Georgia, started recording in early 1967 for the local Delphi label. They had 2 singles on the Delphi label, which would be picked up subsequently by Jubilee Records, and I'm featuring their second. It's not on the Delphi label, it's on the Jubilee label, my copy. It features Bobby Scott on lead. Let's go back to February 1967, give a listen to the Prophets. The Prophets on Jubilee, and there's a tune called Talk Don't Bother Me.
Talk been going around. I said the word is out all over town that you're the one who put me down, baby. You're the one who put me down. I don't care what you might say, even though you let the music play. But talk don't bother me. Talk don't bother me. Talk don't bother me. Talk don't bother me. Talk been going around. They're trying to tell me that I'm still in love with you, even though you haven't been true, baby. Even though you haven't been true. I don't care what you might say, even though you let the music play. So talk don't bother me now. Talk don't bother me. I say the talk don't bother me. Talk don't bother me. You know I love you, and you know I've been true. Can't you see that I need you, darling? So why can't you be true? Talk been going around. I said the word is out all over town that you're the one who put me down, baby. You're the one who put me down. I don't care what you might say, even though you let the music play. Talk don't bother me now. Talk don't bother me. I said talk don't
A group called The Prophets. The Prophets, February 1967. That's on the Jubilee record label. Originally came out on the Adelphi label out of Atlanta, Georgia. The Prophets there with Talk Don't Bother Me. They would later change their name to the Georgia Prophets. Now, we just heard from The Prophets. How about a 45 by the Thee Prophets? They were a quartet out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They signed with Cap Records back in 1968. Had 5 releases. Let's give a listen to their first. This one produced by Carl Bonafide. This one charted number 49 on Billboard, 39 on Cashbox, but a big number 3 on WRAW in Reading, Pennsylvania. This one features Brian Lake on lead, and this was a 45 that my aunt purchased back in 1968. From December 68, give a listen to The Prophets on Cap with their first record. It's called Playgirl. February 1967 release there for December 1968 release there for The Prophets. The Prophets on the Cap label. That's their first release, a song entitled Playgirl. Brian Lake on lead. I have that on a promo, a styrene promo with the same song on both sides. And when I used to deal with my 1950s doo-wop dealers, I would buy 1960s records for $1. Sometimes they would charge me a little bit more, but I told them, I said, look, if you're going to sell me records with the same song on both sides, I won't pay more than $1. So I paid $1 for that 45. Anyway, we heard from The Prophets. We heard from The Prophets. How about an added bonus record, The Midnighters? I didn't have this one scheduled to play, but I was looking through a bunch of records, I think today, and I saw this, and I remember Diane in our Top Shelf Oldies chat room. She's also in the YouTube chat room. She asked me if I had this group. What are they, from out of East LA? So I'm going to spin this by request for Di and Diane. So this is going out to Diane. These are The Midnighters. The Midnighters on the Whittier record label with Everybody Needs Somebody.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm so glad to be here tonight, and I'm so glad to be home. And I got a message for every woman, every man here tonight. lay down and someone to talk to in there. You know, sometimes you get what you want, but then you go out and you turn around and go and lose what you have. But I believe every woman, every man here tonight to come along with me and listen to my song and reach down deep in your heart and your soul and try to feel what I feel inside. Yeah. And I bet we can save the whole world. Listen to me one time now. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody to love. Somebody to love. Somebody to kill. Someone to miss now. Someone to squeeze. Someone to tease. And I need you, you, you. I need you, you, you. I need you, you, you. I need you, you. Oh, sometimes I feel like feeling sad inside. My baby mistreats me, and I get a little mad. I need you, you, you. I need you, you, you. I need you, you, you. I need you, you. And
That's going out to Diane. That's the first time I ever played a request for somebody on the spot, because I cannot do that all the time, not with 45s. But I know Diane requested the Midnighters there, and I think that was the song too, that version that they do, Willie G and the Midnighters. They're going out to Diane on the Whittier record label, their rendition of the tune Everybody Needs Somebody. Yes, we do, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And let's continue now. Up next, the female singer from South Carolina. She moved to New York City. She had 2 releases on the Broadway label. Broadway Records, a division of Sue Records. Now, this song written by Sidney Barnes and J.J. Jackson. This one charted regionally. This was number 23 on KDIA out of Oakland, California. We go to July 1965. Give a listen to Sandra Phillips. Sandra Phillips on the Broadway label. It's called You Succeeded.
Right between the eyes. Suddenly I realized you're trying to make me fall in love, and you succeeded. Hey, yeah. I was a victim of circumstance. You didn't even give my heart a chance, but why complain about falling for you? 'Cause that's just what I wanted to do, yeah.
Her name is Sandra Phillips. Sandra Phillips, July 1965. Came out on the Broadway record label. You Succeeded is the name of that one. She had others that came out, I think, on OK and the Brown Dog label. But that is a cool tune as we continue here. Now, here's another request for Richard Fox. He requested the B-side of a big hit that Wilson Pickett had. And of course, Wilson Pickett, he was from Prattsville, Alabama, began recording back in 1961. And it's a B-side to his hit, if you're familiar with the tune Funky Broadway. And this side did chart, the B-side of that record, it did chart somewhere. Escondido, California is where it charted on KOWN. Was a number 23 song on that survey. It was written by Bobby Womack. It's by request for Richard Fox, July 1967. You flip over from a Funky Broadway by Wilson Pickett on Atlantic, and you get this tune. It's called I'm Sorry About That.
Done you wrong when I drove you away from your home. I'm sorry about that. I begged you like a fool. I broke all love rules. Now baby, I'm sorry about that. Stayed out all night long. When I came home, I did you wrong. I'm sorry about that. Oh, yes, I am. Said to be sorry is a sure sign of weakness, and they also say that a man ain't supposed to cry. When I'm down on my knees and I'm pleading to you, baby, saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, oh yeah. I know I made you cry, hunting you down like a private eye. I'm sorry about that. Oh yes I am. But listen to this. When my food gets cold on the table, when I like about it, you still there willing and able. Baby, baby, you know I'm sorry about that. No, so sorry about that. Baby, just one more chance to prove to you that I love you. Oh yeah, I won't never do you wrong no more, darling. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Whoops, B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there going out to Richard Fox, Wilson Pickett, the B-side to Funky Broadway. July 1967 release called I'm Sorry About That on the Atlantic record label. Actually, that was his 11th of 24 releases on the Atlantic label. We continue here. Let's stay on the Atlantic label, although this artist probably more associated with his releases on the Filet of Soul label, mainly because of his big hit called The Horse. Yes, Clifford James Noble, born in Grove Hill, Alabama, but he had 345s on the Atlantic label, although this one, I think, initially came out on a label called JV Records. I happened to have this one on the Atlantic label. This again was one of my dollar purchases. Always great to find mint copies of records like this for $1. It's an in-demand record. I forget what the last one sold for. I don't know if the Atlantic goes for more or the JV goes for more, but anyway, I was happy to get this for $1. Now, this charted number 23 on WKAZ in Charleston, West Virginia. Let's go to September 1966. Give a listen to Cliff Noble's this twin spin on Atlantic Records. It's called Love is Getting Stronger. September 66 release there for Cliff Noble's. Cliff Noble's there on the Atlantic label. First came out on the JV label. Love is Getting Stronger, and that one there is a what they call a dancer record for the Northern Soul collectors. As we continue here on the All 60s edition. Now, another subsidiary of Sue Records was the Symbol label, probably best known for the song Mockingbird by Charles and Inez Fox. They had the big hit on the Symbol label, but there are other groups and artists on this Symbol label that are pretty good. The Poets, and this group here called the Hollywood Flames. Yes, technically the same group that recorded back in the 1950s out in California. Now, I think David Ford, he was still a member of this group, and they had two releases on the Symbol label. I think one was called Dance Senorita, which I have, and this was their second. their second release, which features John Barry on lead. This one charted number 38 on WJMO out of Cleveland, Ohio. That's a great R&B station. Got some great records on there. If you're going to do a countdown, you want to do WJMO. But let's give this one a spin from April 66, the Hollywood Flames on the Symbol label. It's called I'm Gonna Stand By You.
Don't you worry, darling, just love me true. I'll never let myself walk out on you. Oh, baby, hold you the way I do. You know I'm gonna stand by you. I'll never cheat or mistreat you or even try.
Those are the Hollywood Flames, their second release on the Symbol label. April 1966, John Barry doing lead there. I'm Gonna Stand By You is the name of that one as we continue now. I can't tell you much about this next 45, but it is a cover song. It was first recorded by the Roommates on the Canadian-American label in 1964. The song was written by the bass singer of the Skyliners. His name is Jackie Taylor. Now, he used his wife's name for the label credit, Sharon Veneslo, but in reality, it was Jackie Taylor who wrote this tune, and we're going to give a listen up to this cover version, also on Canadian American, by this artist that goes by the name of Rosalie. Her name is Rosalie. It was produced by Richie Dean, aka Warren Schatz. This one from April 1965, Canadian American. I have this on a one-sided promo. It comes out a stock copy with a real flip, but I have the promo here that I don't think many people have. But anyway, Rosalie's her name. Let's give a listen to her rendition of the tune, My Heart.
You pick me up, then you put me down. You say you're true, and then you run around. And I tell me, boy, say what you're trying to do to my heart, oh my heart, oh my heart.
Cover tunes here on the All 60s edition. Rosalie doing a rendition of My Heart, originally done by the Roommates, April 1965, on the Canadian-American record label as we continue here. And on the last 60s show, I played a 45 on the Double Shot label by a group called the Do-Rights, and it was called Jingle Jangle. Let's give a spin to the B-side of the 45 before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. This one from August 1967. It's on Double Shot Records. These are the Do-Rights. It's called You're My Girl.
You walk so proud, I'll tell the world out loud. I'm not ashamed that you're my girl. Oh yeah, that you're my girl. Oh yeah, you're my girl. You give to me love and security. What more could I want than to know you're my girl? Oh yeah, that you're my girl. Oh yeah. Time for tears may come, then our love has gone. Believe me, I know I can trust you in everything that you do. You treat me kind, never leave me behind. I know I'll stand at your side, 'cause I know you're my girl. You're my girl. Oh yeah, you're my girl. Everybody's gonna know you've got to be my girl. Every morning, every night, you've got to be my girl. My girl. Oh yeah.
I get caught all the time. I'm trying to multitask here when you play records. See, it's a lot harder to play records and work a webcam and work the YouTube and work the email and work the Facebook and work the Top Shelf Oldies. Hi-Fi Tim giving me issues. John, you got to do both chat rooms. I want to see Hi-Fi Tim play records and do all the things that I have to do. He has those easy MP3s to play. Anyway, Johnny G just rambling on here for a Saturday evening trying to explain how I get caught. But anyway, that is a B-side there. B-side for the Do-Rights, August 1967. It's on the Double Shot label. It's called You're My Girl. Now let's move on here for this group from Cleveland, Ohio. They began recording back in 1964, had releases on the Able and the Comet with a K. Comet label. They also had this release on the Lori label. It's written by the lead singer. His name is Joey Perello. Joey Perello on lead. This one from March 65. Give a listen to Joey and the Continentals. It's on the Lori label. It's called Baby. I think they're on Claridge too.
Baby, you went away, you think you're bad. Baby, you think I'm crying, but I'm glad. You went away and said goodbye. Now all you do is sit and cry. Baby, the other guys ain't what you thought. Baby, why must you act so nonchalant? You planned the plot right from the start. Right from the start. Picked up the pieces to your heart. what you thought. Baby, why must you act so nonchalant? You planned the flight right from the start. Picked up the pieces to your heart. Baby, you love no one but yourself. Baby, someday you'll need somebody else.
As Joey and the Continentals. Got to send that one out to George listening in Ohio, or maybe he's not in Ohio, but he likes that tune there a lot. Joey and the Continentals. Joey Perello on lead, March 1965. It's on the Laurie label, a song entitled Baby. And again, they also have a release on the Claridge label. They also recorded as the GTOs on the Claridge label, I think in Parkway Records too. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Got to say hi to my cousin Jay Manella, and hope he is liking his retirement. Jay, I hope you're doing well in retirement. Johnny G not there yet as we continue here for the All 60s edition. And this next group, they're out of Salt Lake City, Utah. This appears to be their only release. I don't know much about this 45, though. It's on the Rampage record label, and it's a cover of a tune originally recorded by the Hollies. The Hollies did this first, but let's give a listen to this one from December 1966. They're called What For? With a question mark. That's the name of the group. It's on the Rampage label. Their rendition of the tune So Lonely. Whoops. Wrong one. Sorry about that, folks. There. Better.
Every time I see you walking down the street with my girl, I get a funny feeling when I see you out with my girl. I get so lonely, I get so lonely without you. I get lonely for you. See her every day and now I realize in my mind, I know I just can't think of anything to do with my time. 'Cause I'm so lonely, I get so lonely without you. I get lonely for you. Waited, waited, yes I have waited. Waited, waited, waited for your loving. Waited to keep me satisfied forever. If you get tired of her, just send her right on back to my arms. And we can start anew, and then I know we never will part. I get so lonely, I get so lonely without you. I get lonely for you. Waited, yes I waited, yes I waited, yes I have waited, yes I waited, yes I waited for your loving. Waited to keep me satisfied forever. If you get tired of her, just send her right on back to my arms. And we can start anew, and then I know we never will part.
Cover tunes here on the All 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show, December 66. For the Wet 4, that's what they're called, Wet 4 question mark on the Rampage label, song entitled So Lonely. You don't have to be lonely, not with all this pandemic going on. You can tune in to Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show Saturday evenings from 10 to midnight. Come into the chat room, come into the YouTube chat room. You have to be a member of YouTube, though. You can view it, no problem, but you can't participate in the chat if you're not logged into YouTube. But anyway, please subscribe to my channel, and you'll get notifications when I'm on. Maybe when I take a day off, I'll do an all-day Johnny G Vinyl Treasure Show. I'll just play all my boxes of records anyway as I babble on. Let's continue here for this group from the Bronx, New York. First began singing a cappella for Slim Rose and his Times Square record label back in 1964. They had a release as the Five Sharks. Then in 1967, they changed their name to Dawn's Early Light and had this release on the Diamond label out of New York City. Was written by Danny Jordan. Now, Danny Jordan, he was a member of the Detergents, and we're going to give a spin to this one here. It features Mark Dinep. That's how you say it. Mark Dinep on lead. This one from June 67. They're called Dawn's Early Light. It's on the Diamond label. I have this on brown vinyl, brown see-through wax, and this is the plug side. It's called Monday Kind of Friday. Wow, they like that tune there in the Top Shelf Oldies chat. We're going to have to send that one out to Wendy. She's in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room there. She likes that tune as we continue here. Oh, wait, I got to tell you who it is. That is the Dawn's Early Light. Dawn's Early Light from June 1967 on the Diamond record label. And Mark Dinep, that is how he's Dinep, he is on lead. And in September of 1967, a group called The Meantime would do an answer song to that. They called it Friday Kind of Monday. It's on the Atco record label, and that was really Ellie Greenwich. Yes, it was. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. As we continue here, we head out to Los Angeles, California for a song that was featured in the movie The Wild Angels. I think Dave Davy Allen and the Arrows. They played a lot of the music in that movie. But there was a group called The Hands of Time that also recorded a few songs. And here's one on the Sidewalk label from that movie. The song written by Mike Curb. And the rhythm guitarist is the lead singer. His name is Russ Viot, V-I-O-T. And this is on Mike Curb's Sidewalk record label. Let's give it a spin here. They're called The Hands of Time from September 1966 on the Sidewalk label. It's called Midnight Rider. Johnny G's getting caught again. You know I'm getting caught again, but I'm not ready here. See, Tim doesn't have to queue up the records. Hi-Fi Tim has to queue up his MP3s. They're real easy. Anyway, Johnny G, that is the Hands of Time. The Hands of Time, September 1966 on the Sidewalk record label. Midnight Rider. That's a lot of cool records, by the way, on the Sidewalk label. Portraits comes to mind. Anyway, Johnny G here. It's my all 1960s vinyl treasure show. We do it the last Saturday of every month. We want to get away from all this coronavirus stuff. It's kind of odd when you have to work from home. I'm actually working longer hours. I'm doing like 10-hour days. But they gave me a project. I got to finish this project by April 1st. It's a lot of work, but it's actually better. I'm not driving into Newark, New Jersey. Anyway, enough of my babbling here. Let's continue here. We got a Wayne Newton 45 up next on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And the cool thing about this record is it's a Gary Usher pen tuned, arranged by Terry Melcher. It has kind of a Beach Boys sound to it, as Bruce Johnson and Terry Melcher, they're doing the background vocals on this. This charted number 6 on WDRK in Greenville, Mississippi. We go back to December 1964 for Wayne Newton, believe it or not, on the Capitol label. It's called Comin' On Too Strong.
When we kiss and say goodnight.
strong. Come a little too strong.
Yes, as Wayne Newton actually started as the Newton Brothers back in 1961. But anyway, Wayne Newton there with kind of definitely a Beach Boy type sound there for sure. December 1964 on the Capitol label, coming on too strong. Send that one out to Brian listening in Wisconsin. I'm sure he likes that beach surf sound as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This next singer-songwriter, she's from Washington Heights, New York. Wrote so many cool tunes through the years, but she signed with Colpix Records back in 1963 and also recorded on a bunch of different labels: Senate Records, Atco, Entrance, Warner Brothers, and this one on the Colpix label, her fourth and final release on Colpix, produced by Steve Vinette, arranged by Charlie Colello. This one from November 64. Give a listen to Tony Wine. Tony Wine on Colpix. It's called A Girl Is Not a Girl.
If it's in your heart to hurt me, then hurt me. But if it's in your heart to hold me, then hold me. And let me know with a kiss you really, really need me.
Give me a kiss and say that you need me.
'Cause a girl is not a girl, and a heart is not a heart. When the boy and the girl are apart. If you say we're through, I'll cry some and die some. 'Cause when I'm not with you, I'm lonesome, oh lonesome. So just remember this before you leave me.
Remember before you leave me.
That a girl is not a girl, and a heart is not a heart. When the boy and the girl are baby, just remember this before you leave me.
Before you leave me.
A girl is not a girl, and a heart is not a heart. When the boy and the girl are apart. A girl is not a girl, and a heart is not a heart. When the boy and the girl.
November 64 release there for Tony Wine. Tony Wine, that's her fourth and final release on the Colpix label, A Girl Is Not a Girl. And in 1969, she became a member of the Archies. And everybody knows how Johnny G relates to the Archies. The first 45 I ever purchased was Sugar Sugar by the Archies. That one I did by myself. The other records I purchased with my Aunt Mary back in 1966 or late 65. She took me to the record store in White Plains, New York. As we continue here on the All 60s edition, how about a group from the UK, as these fellows are from Manchester, England, and this is on the ABC Paramount record label. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Graham Graham Gouldman, Gouldman. This one from May 1965. They're called the Mockingbirds. Give a listen to the Mockingbirds on ABC Paramount. It's called I Never Should Have Kissed You. Group called the Mockingbirds. May 1965 came out on the ABC Paramount record label. It was called I Never Should Have Kissed You. Now, the lead singer Graham Gouldman, that Richard Fox mentioned that Graham wrote songs for the Yardbirds. I'm sure he did. Maybe he was a member. I don't know. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And up next, a girl group. They're called the Fashions. I think this is the same group that recorded with Barbara English. Barbara English is minus. She's not singing with this group at this point. So these are the Fashions without Barbara English. It's the first of two. They recorded on the 20th Century Fox label, written by George Kerr and Larry Roberts. This one charted number 20 on WWIN in Baltimore, Maryland. We go back to April 1968. These are the Fashions on 20th Century Fox. It's called I Owe You a Lifetime of Love. Scratchy, too.
Love for me
Yes, Evan, that is a VG minus record. Well, what do you expect when you get somebody throws records out in the garbage? As Evan always finds records in the garbage. That's how you're going to find them. And that was a penny a piece. I took that one because it looked interesting. That's The Fashions. Pretty cool tune there from April 1968. It's spelled the letter I-O and the letter U. I-O-U parentheses, A Lifetime of Love. That one there on the 20th Century Fox record label. We continue here. And up next, I have a song. I'll call this a gender cover tune, because we can call this one a gender cover tune, as this song was first recorded by the Supremes for the Motown record label, as now we go to the Veep label now, and this record produced by Johnny Madera, David White, and Leon Huff. Now, according to John Manship, he says that the lead singer here is George Tinley. George Tinley on lead. Of course, he was the lead of the Modern Redcaps. Goes back to the 1950s. He also had a bunch of solo releases that are pretty cool soul records. But the name of the group is called, it's four words, By George and Company, like the letter, the word B-Y. By George, the Ensign Company. It's from December 67. It's on the Veep label, and the name of the tune is called When the Love Light Starts Shining Through Her Eyes. Here you go.
Treated her unkind, but you did.
Gender cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's By George and Company, December 1967, doing the male version of the Supremes tune, When the Love Light Starts Shining Through Her Eyes. That one there, excuse me, I hope I'm not getting sick. That one there on the Veep record label. We continue here, almost in Vinyl Treasure overtime. Let's stay with another cover tune. Actually, this is a request. This is one request for young Evan Blatt. He sent me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com, and this is a cover song. Was first done by Gene Chandler, and he recorded this first, but this was covered by a group from the San Francisco Oakland Bay area. Initially, this record came out on the Bayview label, which I am looking for, back in 1967. Then it was picked up by the Venture label, and it's a request for Evan Blatt. This one charted number 65 on Billboard, 48 on Cashbox, a big number 8 R&B tune, and was a 45 that my aunt purchased back in 1968. She had it on the Venture label as the one I have. I have a Stone Mint copy somewhere, but this one is okay. It's not styrene. It's a vinyl press, comes both ways, but it features Leslie La Palma on lead. From May 1968, going out to Evan, these are the Ballads on Venture with their rendition of the tune, God Bless Our Love.
God bless our love. God bless our love. And God forgive us our temptations, 'cause He knows we have been tempted, girl, beyond and above humiliation. Bless the stars above. Oh, God bless our love. Baby, need you so bad. Hey, baby. So bad, oh yeah, need you right now. God bless our love. God give us our temptation, 'cause He knows we have been tempted, girl, beyond and above humiliation. Oh yeah, 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 my girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Evan, great request. That's where'd you hear that record, Evan? Where did you hear about the Ballads? That's a great tune, the Ballads. Leslie La Palma on lead, May 1968 release on the Venture label, God Bless Our Love. Yes, cool tunes. Here we are in Vinyl Treasure overtime. Up next, A gal, originally she was born in Birmingham, Alabama, relocated to Los Angeles, California at the age of 8. She signed with Reprise Records when she was 16 years old. On the last 60s edition, I featured her second of 3 that she did on Reprise. It was called Happy Anniversary from 1963. But here's her second of 2 that she recorded on the Downey label out of California. This tune written by Barry White and Jack Stern. Let's go back to May of 1967 for Pat Powdrill. Pat Powdrill with her power drills on the Downey label. I have this on cool looking red vinyl. You can check it out on my Facebook page, John Galindo. Go to my Facebook page. You'll see a bunch of records. I played some of them tonight already, but you'll see this one on red vinyl. Let's give a listen to Pat Powdrill and the power drills. It's called Together Forever. That's the second of 2 for Pat Powdrill and the Power Drills on the Downey record label. Together Forever is the name of the tune from May 1967. That's penned by Barry White. Yes, Barry White and Jack Stern. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's go to this group out of Washington, D.C. They had 2 releases on the Captown record label. One's a very cool Christmas record. Their first one, the one just prior to this, it was called All I Want Is for Christmas Is You, a great soulful Christmas tune. But this was their follow-up. This one also comes out on the Essica label, and this group is called the Sequence. They're C-Q-U-E-N-T-S from 1966. It's on the Captown label. This is their second release. It's called Dearest One. There you go. play that on my 50s show. That's a great transitional sound there by The Sequence, 1966 on the Captown record label, Dearest One. You can also get it on the Essica label. I think it's much cheaper on the Essica label. Johnny G's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. We're digging on the cool 60s sounds out of my collection. We do it once a month, the last Saturday of every month. I'll be back next Saturday with 1950s and early 60s sound. And if you enjoy that, you want to tune into that. And also, if you're watching on the YouTube, you please subscribe. You'll get a notification when I do a live broadcast. I might be doing some during the week. Anyway, we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Richard Fox sent me a request for the initials on the Congress record label. I went crazy looking for the record, and I forget the title of it, but I played it in not too long ago, I think November of 2019, which is why I probably couldn't find it. But I did play on the last 60s show an Angelo and the Initials, that is the same group, played their third release on the Congress record label. It was called I Should Have Listened. So let's flip that 45 over, even though I don't have Rich's request. I will find it eventually. But this is their third release on the Congress label. They were out of Cleveland, Ohio. And this one's from November 64. We're going to flip it over. It features Angelo Ortega on lead. He's doing lead here. These are Angelo and the Initials on the Congress label. This is the B-side. It's called Someday She'll Love Me.
She'll love me as I love her, as I love her. I'm in love with a girl, but my love for her isn't vain. I know I shouldn't love her so, but my heart is to blame, and so I have to believe what my heart says believe when it says someday she'll love me, someday she'll really, really love me, someday she'll love me. As I love her, as I love her. She says that her heart belongs to somebody else. I know I shouldn't love her so, but I just can't help myself. But I keep on hoping, and I keep on praying that someday she'll love me, someday she'll really, really love me, someday she'll love me. As I love her, as I love her, as I love her, someday you really, really love me, 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 someday you really, really love me.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Angelo and the Initials. Randy says it sounds like Pretty Woman by, well, yes, definitely the guitar and that beat definitely sounds like Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison, but that is Angelo and the Initials. That's the B-side there to I Should Have Listened. It's called Someday She'll Love Me from November 1964 on the Congress label. As we continue here back to Chicago, we go. Have we going to Chicago? Yeah, we think we have been to Chicago. This is on Leonard Chess's Checker label. This group is called Mary and the Desirables. Mary and the Desirables, and appears to be their only release. And this one from December of 1965. Let's give it a spin. Mary and the Desirables on Checker. It's called Hurting Hurts. That's a girl group out of Chicago, Illinois, Mary and the Desirables, December 1965. On the Checker label, it's called Hurting Hurts. That is for sure. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, we stay in Chicago, Illinois now for this next group. This group goes back to the 1950s. I think they're the same group, the Dandeliers. That's what they're called. But they originally recorded on the States label. I don't know if the entire group stayed intact or not. But this is on the Midas label, and this is from 1966. They got a very expensive record on Midas. I forget what the name of it is, but they do at least a couple, if not more. But I forget what I paid for this one. Maybe $75 or so for this record. I don't know. Barry Salt sold me this. It's from 1966, the Dandeliers on the Midas label. It's called All the Way.
Cherish rather than tear it apart. A love he should have cherished right from the very start. Yes, he's watching you come in, and this is all that you've been. It's not fair, he's not taking care.
They're called the Dandeliers. Dandeliers, 1966, called All the Way to the Super Bowl. Those are on the Midas record label as we continue here in Vinyl Treasure OT. And this next 45 is a request for Richard Fox, this group out of East Orange, New Jersey. Gus Gossett used to play this record quite a bit on his Gus Gossett show, and originally came out on the General record label. Then Checker picked it up about 2 months later, and I have it on the original label, General Records. Got to be careful, you collectors out there. If you own this on the General label and it's a maroon copy, that is a bootleg. Yes, it is. That is a bootleg. It's got to be on like a beige color General record label. This one charted number 42 on WMBM in Miami, Florida. This one on General Records, going out to Rich from May 1966. The Ocapellos on the General label with The Stars. As going out to Richard Fox there, the Ocapellos. Ocapellos, May 1966 on the General record label. The Stars is the name of the tune. I think Joe Ronco sold me that. He's passed away now, but Joe Ronco sold me that at an Edison, New Jersey record show. Let's continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime to Chicago. We go back to Chicago for this group called Bobby Roberts and the Ravons. This first came out on the GMA label, but then it was picked up by Cameo Records. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Bob Stedman. He also played the bass for the group. And this one's from October 1964, Cameo Records. Somebody do me a favor, check the price on this, because I got this for nothing. But is this an expensive 45? I wasn't sure if it was or not, but we're going to give it a spin here. Bobby Roberts and the Ravons from October 64. Check Pop Psych on the Cameo label. It's called How Can I Make Her Mine?
Well, there's a new girl moved in my neighborhood, and every time she passes by, she looks so good, yeah. How can I meet her? How can I make her mine? Well, now she's the kind of girl I love all the time. Want her loving permanently, yeah. I want her loving to belong to me. She got big blue eyes and a long black hair, shaped figure and skin so fair, yeah. How can I meet her? How can I make her mine? Well, now she's the kind of girl I love all the time. Want her loving permanently, yeah. I want her loving to belong to me. How can I make her mine? Want her loving permanently. Well, I dated that girl like I knew I would, and she says I keep her happy like she knew I could. And I've been dating her steadily, and now all her loving belongs to me, yeah. I'm glad I met her, I'm glad I made her mine. Well, she's the kind of girl I love all the time. I got her loving permanently, yeah. And now all her loving belongs to me.
You go there. As Johnny G gets caught. That's Bobby Roberts and the Ravons. They like that one there in the Top Shelf Oldies chat. That's called How Can I Make Her Mine? October 1964. I have it on the Cameo record label. It originally came out on the GMA label out of Chicago, and they have one more on GMA as the Ravons. Johnny G's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime as we continue here. And here's another group out of Los Angeles, California, formed in 1965. They had some pretty big hits on the Valiant label, like Along Comes Mary, Cherish, Windy, Never My Love, and others. But here's their very first release on the Jubilee record label, and it's a cover song. This was first done back in 1962 by Joan Baez on her LP, her Vanguard LP, Joan Baez in Concert Part 1, if you know the song. But anyways, from May 65, these are the Associations, their very first record on the Jubilee label. It's called Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You.
Well, you know I'm gonna
did not say Joan Baez. I said she recorded it on an LP, but that is far from Cherish and Windy and Along Comes Mary. But that's the Association's first record, May 1965, on the Jubilee record label. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, up next, a group from Houston, Texas. They were founded by the writer of this tune, Billy Gibbons. He's of ZZ Top, while still in high school in the mid-1960s. Now, this was a number one record in Houston for 6 weeks on KNUZ and KILT. And this first came out on the Tantra label in April of 67. It was then picked up by Wand Records, this one from May of 67. Give a listen to The Moving Sidewalks. The Moving Sidewalks, I have it on the Wand label. It's called 99th Floor.
Feel like you should. So we got on an elevator, then we just shut the door. Said we won't stop till we get to the 99th floor. Next thing that came to me came much to my surprise. Then I began to realize that you were telling me your lies. So come on, baby, let's do it some more. Said we won't stop till we get to the 99th floor.
There you go there with the Moving Sidewalks. I have another record by them on SSS International. That's the same group, I think. But the Moving Sidewalks, May 1967, the 99th Floor. I have that on the Wand record label. Originally came out on the Tantra label. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. And on the last 60s edition, I featured the Rivieras on the Riviera label from September 1965. I played the B-side of their sixth release on the Riviera label. It was called Somebody Asked Me. We're going to flip it over, give a listen to the intended A-side. It features Bobby Whiteside on lead. This one charted number 25 on WLS in Chicago. I think it actually did better than that in some parts of Chicago. But let's give a listen to the A-side from September 1965. The Rivieras on Riviera with a song entitled Somebody New.
Somebody new came into town. Somebody new is showing you around. Well, he was a stranger, so offering you'd be, and now the only stranger here is me. The only stranger, here is me. Somebody new, a brand new face. A brand new face is taking up my place. Somebody new now holds tight. Oh, each and every lonely night. Oh, each and every lonely night. Well, he never wanted to see us say goodbye, but soon I saw him in your eyes. Somebody old can only die, and watch you back each time that you walk by. Somebody new now shares your loving kiss. I used to be there, it's the kiss I miss. Somebody new is now in love with you, and I'm so blue, no dreams come true. Somebody new.
There you go. Those are the Rivieras. That's their 6th release on the Riviera label. Yes, Diane, the same group that did California Sun. Those are the Rivieras from September 1965 with Somebody New. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, is YouTube doesn't like me to go past 3 hours. They give me problems, especially when I'm recording, when it uploads up on the system. Plus, more records I play, the more chances for although I'm not playing really big hits, so I shouldn't really have any copyright strikes. Keep my fingers crossed. But anyway, let's continue for a little bit more. This group hails from Fort Worth, Texas, as they formed back in 1963 by Delbert McClinton, who, by the way, played harmonica on Bruce Chanel's Hey Baby, and the group is called the Rondells. Now, the Ron part of the Rondells was taken from group member Ronnie Kelly, and the Dells part was taken from Delbert McClinton's name. And let's go to this release on the Smash label. It was produced by Major Bill Smith and Ray Hildebrand of Paul and Paula of fame, as I lose my voice. And this one charted number 49 on KFJC in Fort Worth, Texas from September 1965. The Rondells on Smash with She's My Girl.
I got to tell somebody about my girl. Got to tell everybody in the whole wide world. She's driving me out of my mind. I love her till the end of time. I want you to know, want everyone to know she's my girl. She's got kisses like candy that she gives to me. She gives me so much love and I can hardly see. She's the only girl for me, and I'll never set her free. I want you to know, want everyone to know she's my girl. Last night she gave me her picture. Tonight I'm gonna give her my ring. We might even get married. Who knows what the future may bring? I got to tell somebody about my girl. Got to tell everybody in the whole wide world. She's driving me out of my mind. I love
That group called the Rondells. The Rondells, September 1965. It's on the Smash label. Song entitled She's My Girl. Gonna get a few more 45s in here as I heard this song on an American Bandstand Raider Records segment from 1967. Originally, this came out on the Pacific Challenger label, which was a much slower version. It was picked up 2 years later by the Mira label. I think they just sped the record up. It's a number of seconds different. It's like 21-second difference in the two releases, so they sped it up. But I like the tune from May of 1967. His name is Bob Youngs. Bob Youngs, I'm featuring it on the Mira label. It's called Goodbye to Yesterdays.
Each time I see the falling rain, yeah, then I will cry for you in vain. Oh, yeah, I just can't bring myself to say goodbye to yesterday. Sometimes I walk along that dark and see the lovers in the bar. My lonely footsteps seem to say goodbye to yesterday. Suppose it's true. Yeah, you find yourself with somebody new. How can he love you right So now I sit at home, yeah, and listen for the telephone.
That's Bob Youngs. Bob Youngs there from May 1967 on the Mira label, Goodbye to Yesterdays. That one charted on KFXM in San Bernardino, California. It was number 21 on the survey. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, as I mentioned, a couple more to go. Let me see. I'll let you know after this next one here. And this next group, they're out of New York City. It's their only release. It came out on the Twirl label, written by Robin Serpraner, who I think is the lead singer on this. It came out on Harry Balk's Twirl label, this one from January 1966. Give a listen to the Carvels. I wish I could have a Carvel. The Carvels on Twirl, and it's called Don't Let Him Know.
Never looks in my direction.
A group called the Carvels. The Carvels from January 1966 on the Twirl label, Don't Let Him Go. That makes me think of custard ice cream. The Carvels and on the Twirl label. Anyway, that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. This one's going to get posted up on my YouTube website. Unfortunately, I have no recording of this on the Top Shelf Oldies stream because something happened. I don't know how my directories got messed up, but they did. It couldn't find the directory, so I have to look into that. So North Dakota Bob is going to be upset about that. He's going to have to go to the YouTube video. But anyway, send me your request at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Let me know how you're liking on the tunes tonight. And again, I will be back next Saturday night at 10 o'clock. But we're going to close the show tonight from August of 1966. Now, this group is mostly known for their instrumental hit, which was used in an Alka-Seltzer commercial. It was called No Matter What Shape Your Stomach's In. That was a big hit for them. They had 8 releases on the Liberty record label. Some of them were vocals, and their 6th release is a vocal written by the lead singer. His name is Tommy Reynolds. And this one charted number 26 on WTAC in Flint, Michigan. So, Daryl, do you remember this tune here? And let's go back to August of 1966. The closer tonight is by the T-Bones. The T-Bones on the Liberty label. It's called Fare Thee Well, appropriate close for tonight. So thank you all for tuning in to the Vinyl Treasure Show. We got to get back to normalcy soon. It's going to probably stick around like this. I think it's going to be at least a month. I'm supposed to go back to work on October 10th or 11th, I think, but I think that's going to be extended. I do, especially in the New York area. So it's really a hotbed here where I am. But I'm, doing work. I file some records tomorrow. Actually, I got to work tomorrow. But hope everyone is being safe, staying safe. Don't touch your face and wash your hands. You have to touch your face to get this virus. You don't want to do that. But anyway, we'll try to cope with this as we go. I'll be back next Saturday. Hopefully I will not be sick. And I'll be back next Saturday for my 1950s and early 60s show. And then I'll be back in a month from now, hopefully, with the All 60s edition. And please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. It all begins at 9 o'clock right here on Top Shelf Oldies, 9 to midnight. Dave the Rave with some cool 60s records out of his collection. Anyway, thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. I know I was a pain, and the 60s are more difficult than the 50s for some reason. It is for me too, but again, I enjoy being here. I get charged up when I do my show. Hope you dug on all the tunes. I'll see you here next week. Everybody be safe. Have a safe and happy week. And just want to say, everybody, so long.
As time goes by, I know it's true. Yes, baby, I've waited too long to take that trip to you. If I wait like Noah's dove, you know I'd fly down that river to the one I love. That's why I say, fare thee well, fare thee well, baby. If I was free, like the birds of
up in the tree. You know I'd fly down that river, to the one I love.
Fare thee well.
Yes, Fred, that is an interesting thing. I didn't really plan it that way. But you're right, fare thee well. I played 3 these. Yes, I did. That could be a group, the 3 these. Anyway, so here were the 2 closers here. The Carvels. Carvels. I can go for a Carvel now. Don't let him know. It's blurry there with this thing on twirl. And the T-Bones. The T-Bones that had that instrumental hit, No Matter What Shape Your Stomach's In. There you go. And my stomach is in shape for some yogurt, and I am tired. Daryl, thank you again. I don't know if I said thank you to everyone in the chat room that is left. But thanks again, folks, for sticking around. You my diehard listeners. I really appreciate it. I enjoy playing my records. I do. This is really the only time I get to enjoy it. But again, I'll be back next Saturday, God willing, of course. And it's been a lot of fun. It always is on a Saturday evening, and all you guys make it special when you tune into the Vinyl Treasure Show. So again, once again, thanks again. Everybody be safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. 6 feet away. It's killing me with Barbara. We're going to try to FaceTime tomorrow. But anyway, that's going to do it for me again, folks. Charlene, again, thank you so much for all your help. And I will see you here next Saturday at 10 p.m. for the 1950s and early 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Everybody, so long and good night. Take care.